God, man, I wish there was a not to get more morbid on you again, but there was a YouTuber that passed away recently. I didn't know the guy. I know Jason from Backtrack Cinema. He recently did like a stream with the guy, and I'm trying to remember. God, do any of you guys know his name? Who I'm talking about? But I saw that, and it just like, wow, it hit me. You know, like how precious life is, and you know, you put all this effort into, you know, a YouTube, but at the end of the day, you know, none of that really matters. You know, we all get one life, and I think sometimes we often I don't know, take it for granted maybe. I'm not saying this person took it for granted. It was from what I read, it was like a complete surprise, and my heart goes out to his family. Just brutal. So yeah, and you know what? I think the biggest thing is I wish I would have gotten to know him. You know, he was a horror fan just like us, right? He was a fellow horror fan. So yeah, that was tough. Dave, his name was Dave. Yeah, man, I can't remember. Guys, do you remember what his channel name was? Give me a second. Savage Zombie Reviews. Thank you, Zodiac. Savage Zombie Reviews. That was his channel. And yeah, just so sad. But yeah, rest in peace, brother. Man, rest in peace. He was a horror fan. He loved movies. He loved horror movies. He loved the community. I saw, I looked into him after I heard about it, and it just kind of broke my heart. Man. So, yeah, life is precious, guys. Life is precious. My brain, I forget stuff, and then I get rolling, and then I don't come back around to it. And I meant to bring it up the last time. Have you guys been watching this Quiet on Set documentary that's on Max? I think it's on Max. Man, that is some really, really disturbing stuff. And, I think it really rings true to a lot of us because it hits so close to home. I think a lot of you guys probably watched the Amanda Bynes show and Drake and Josh and all those in the 90s. I'm more from the 80s side of things, and I was watching Nickelodeon, and I was watching, like, You Can't Do That on Television, and a couple of other shows. Nickelodeon, that was a big part of when we would come home from school, right? And what's the first thing we would do? We'd usually, at least in the 80s, we would turn on Nickelodeon or we would turn on MTV in the 80s. Because MTV, they were all about the Total Request Live. But, after watching that show, it really kind of opened my mind up a little bit to the Amanda Bynes situation. Because we all saw Amanda Bynes kind of spiral. Really, like she really did spiral. And I think watching that documentary, it provides a whole new context. And maybe a lot of what was going on then caused her to spiral like she did. And man, what a brutal show. And episode 3 is all about the Drake and Josh, especially Drake and what happened to him. And I was just floored. I mean, he was all over the tube back in the day, and I thought, I was like, that kid's career is going to go far. And now knowing what we know, man, it's just so tragic. It's just so tragic what happened to him and what happened to a lot of these kids. And you can circle back to Corey Feldman, and Corey Feldman was playing that trumpet for years, and nobody wanted to take the guy seriously because, sadly, his status. If you're not an A-list star or high B-list star, then you can't yell loud enough. And eventually, his voice was able to be heard, and he did do some name dropping and some tea spilling. But then I think recently Corey Feldman said that documentary got taken down or something like that. Like they put the kibosh on it. Kyle, let me take your super chat real quick. Most rewatched for me, Suspiria, Alien Covenant, Halloween Kills, Terrifier 2, Evil Dead 2013, and Rise. Underworld. I almost put Underworld on there. Friday Part 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Black Christmas. Oh my God, you're listing some freaking zingers. Texas Chainsaw 2022, Night of the Living. Or you say Night of the Comet? Yeah. Great, man. Those are great answers. Great answers. That's the thing. This is a hard list to put together to narrow it down to 10. And I'm glad. I knew you guys would throw out some that I didn't put on the list, like Terrifier 2. I mean, that's the latest example would definitely be Terrifier 2. What's up, guys? You are at the middle of the video. Don't go anywhere. There's still plenty of content ahead of you, but just wanted to break right here to say you are at Drumdums Xtra, my second channel. If you like my main channel and you're not subscribed, I would urge you to subscribe to this channel, okay? Because this is where I do a lot of my horror updates and whatnot. I moved all that stuff over to here, and it's more of a live stream type feel. I am working really hard on this channel, just as hard as I am on the other channel. You'll see at least 3 or 4 videos a week, and most of it's like horror news, topical type stuff. Got some rankings on there and whatnot. The main channel's still the main channel, but this is more for this type of content. So anyway, guys, back to the video. And subscribe, damn it. For sure. But jumping back onto the whole I guess quiet on set thing. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I wanted to at least recommend it and give my thoughts on it. I even watched. I went down a really bad rabbit hole. I probably shouldn't have, but I watched the Jared Fogle Subway Guy documentary right after. And these are documentaries that are, you don't watch them more than once usually. You watch them, you feel horrible, and then you get the hell out of there. And I think these documentaries are important, though, because it raises awareness. And, you hope that these days it's not like that, especially with like I'm sure the Me Too movement really helped put things at bay. And, Tom Ungren, what are your thoughts on the Diddy's weird ass? I'll say this. I'm not surprised, and the reason I say that is because I had heard all these really wild parties in the past, and then there was the whole him and J-Lo. J-Lo, I think, got involved with the wrong crowd. Him being that crowd, I kind of relate it to the what's the singer that got in so much trouble a few years ago. Damn it. I'm drawing a blank, but you guys will tell me in a second. But, he was messing with little children or, teenagers, and it ended his career, And I don't know the full extent of P. Diddy, and I'm not going to accuse R. Kelly. Thank you, Shelby. Yeah, it immediately made me think of R. Kelly. And I do believe in innocent until proven guilty. I don't know the facts. And I'm not here to accuse anyone of anything until the trial has happened and the evidence has been gathered. I don't like doing that. I don't like jumping on piling on. I don't like piling on somebody until I have all the facts, right? Because I think a lot of us can do that. But I will say, if P. Diddy ends up going to jail, I'm not going to be that surprised. And I think when you get involved in that life, you can easily go down a dark path, right? You can easily go down a dark path. And you know what? I'll even share a little story on my end of things. Back about 10, I think it was about 10 years ago. We were thinking about putting my daughter into modeling. She was interested in doing some local stuff. And just because she fits the right height, she's 5'10", and my daughter's a very, very beautiful girl. And I ended up taking her to LA and going, but at the time she was, I think, 16. So this was more than 10 years ago, actually. And long story short, my wife and I had a long conversation, and one of those meetings got a little uncomfortable, and luckily we were there. But the guy was kind of handsy and touchy, and my daughter was already like skinny as a rail. I mean, and he said that he wanted her to maybe lose 10 pounds. And if you saw my daughter at the time, you'd be shocked that he wanted her to lose 10 pounds. Because they want the clothes to hang off you like a clothes hanger. That was an actual phrase that he used. And after that, I'm glad he was that upfront and honest, because we had a good conversation with my daughter and we decided to back out. I did not want to put my daughter in that situation. And, I think you have to have constant supervision or mentorship, and the trust has to be there. And I think as a parent, you always have to have your eyes on your children when they're in the entertainment industry. I think that's the lesson I learned from that. And after watching this Quiet on Set, it really brought me back to that experience. And I was really thanking my lucky stars that we decided, let's don't go that route, And luckily she wasn't like, my daughter took it really well. Like, I think it shook her up too, and she didn't really want to do it anymore. She was like, I don't know if I want to, go down that road and live that lifestyle, because it could go really bad. So I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't. All right, now let's get off the dark stuff. Hey, I brought it up, right?